and she said, I'm going to invite you to look inward. And I said, did you say the N-word?
Stop it.
I
Stop.
did.
What are you doing? What are you doing with her?
Deflecting.
Let her do her job.
I'm deflecting.
Welcome to Secondhand Therapy.
Hey, make sure you swallow before you start, because all anybody hears when you talk is...
You never forget to swallow, huh? Welcome to Secondhand Therapy. We want to remind you we are not licensed therapists, professionals, anything like that. We're just a couple of guys who are working
angry.
through
I don't have a
it.
comeback, and I'm mad.
Well, that's
Something about your mom being a whore.
That's weird because you usually have all the cum. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe, like the video if you're watching. It should be up in this corner, maybe. You're not going to do the corner thing?
No, I'm not doing the corner thing. No, I'm not doing the corner thing.
What happened?
I'm so pissed off, man. Oh, fuck. It's not often somebody gets the best of me in a shit-talking match, and you just did, and I'm not handling it well.
Is it the control issues triggering the anxiety, or is it the anxiety triggering the control issues? That's what I was fucking hit with this week.
Yeah. We know the answer, don't we?
I think we do.
Well, no, I was still talking, right? So here's what we're going to say. Mm-hmm. You are riddled with anxiety, and we know that.
I'm a super chill, laid-back dude.
Uh-huh. Now, it's for sure, you have this, I think, this is my theory. I call it the Malone theory.
Okay.
Step 1, be a big pussy.
Got it.
Step 2, have an inherent fear just in your core, which is anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that makes you want to control everything around you because you exist on a... Your hum level of anxiety is already at like a 5, I think.
Yeah, which is so crazy because, again, I'm a super chill, laid-back dude.
Hey, I forgot to tell you guys, we have our first sponsor. It's Denial Incorporated.
Yeah, so my therapist hit me with that, and I think that is right. I think the anxiety is triggering these control issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, but upon discovery in therapy this week, I realized that I'm like Bane, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you're not.
You were just raised in it. I was born in anxiety. My mother was...
What a terrible reference that was.
Yeah, I know. It was reaching.
Here's what it is. Solid impression though. The Bane. I didn't hate the Bane voice.
Well,
it was nice. Yeah.
You know, it's around Halloween. I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
My mother was riddled with anxiety, and she's the poster child of worst case scenario.
Yeah. So,
is that your Malone impression?
Dog, I fell offline.
Fucking Biden, 2024.
Yeah, hey, yeah. No one asked for a remix of that sentence. Hey, man. Explain more about what you mean that your mom is riddled with anxiety. What does that look like?
Oh, this is a great example. This is the one I gave in therapy. When I was like starting to drive, 16, 17, like fresh driver, my mother would try to talk me out of driving when it was raining because it was too dangerous and she was worried about me. So if it was raining too hard, she would try to keep me home because she was scared that
That's not that wild.
Rain, dog?
I mean, you're a brand new driver. That doesn't seem that wild.
Okay.
I'm just saying. For me, I thought it would be worse.
Yeah, that's just like a light example, but it's like that for everything. Everything is worst case scenario with my mother.
Yeah, I do a podcast with this guy. Everything's worst case scenario with him. So
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, you see the similarities. And for years, I thought that my anxiety was just this worrisome leftovers from my mother. I didn't realize that it was like full-blown anxiety. I thought just every once in a while my mom would flare up, you know? And yeah, it turns out full-blown anxiety.
Yeah. Well, we knew that. I'm glad you know it now. How does it feel now that you know? Have you accepted it yet? Or do you can you look at yourself and be like, I'm an anxious person?
Well, you and I had talked a couple weeks ago when we kind of were unpacking these controlling issues. And I thought the root of everything was control. But then I started looking into like what that is. And I'm not a controlling person in that manner of like, when I think of like controlling people, I think of kind of like bad relationships, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I don't have any of that. But I like to drive. I like to know the plan. I like to all that kind of stuff. Like controlling in that way is controlling my environment, controlling more so like forecasting is what I would compare it to. Forecasting my evening or event or whatever. In those ways I'm controlling. So I thought the root was control, but you and I unpacked it, and I think the root is anxiety, and I have accepted that.
So when you do have your evening, because we've talked about this before, that you need to know what the plan is, and I need you to stick to the plan.
Right.
Where do you fall in that spectrum? Like if you have a plan and it changes, is that okay, or does that fuck you up?
Oh, there's nothing more I love than to cancel a plan.
Oh, I know that.
Oh, I love to cancel a plan.
Yeah.
Who wants to make plans? I'm already not going. Love it.
What are we doing?
I'm just.
That's called the paternal arrival. All right, we've already done that. I've already coined this. It's the paternal arrival.
That's true. Yeah, I love that. But it depends. If it is something that I have done or something similar, it does not bother me. If it is a new activity, I think it'll fuck me up.
What if they're like, "Hey, I'll be at your place at 8," and then they hit you up at like 7:50? They're like, "Hey, can we push to 9?"
That doesn't bother me at all.
Even if you're like ready and all that shit.
No, I'll be a little bummed. I'll be like, whatever, and then I'll just fucking find a snack or something.
Making a snack.
Making a snack, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that would set you off, right? That would just that'd ruin your night.
Oh, if you're supposed to be here at 8 and you hit me at 7:55 and say, "Hey, can we push to 9?" Lose my number.
It's that bad. It's that
Lose
bad.
my fucking number, because clearly you don't respect my time. And if you don't respect my time, you don't respect me, do you?
But what if something comes up?
I get it. Shit happens. What happened that you need an extra hour? Not a car accident. What happened?
Better show up in a stretcher.
Yeah, what happened that you need an extra hour? Diarrhea? Okay, I'll give you diarrhea. That's not an hour. Tell me you're gonna be 15 late and you get here and be like, my stomach's fucked up. And I go, I hear you. It happens.
Do you have a chart of like excuses and time that you are?
It's in here. And in here.
Yeah, that's where
it is.
That's where it is.
Yeah. Yeah, don't hit me last minute. Can we push? Have you lost your mind? Hey man, you should have been on your way and you knew you weren't. Hit me up then. Hit me up when you didn't leave on time. Not 5 minutes before you're supposed to get here.
Yeah. That's
You don't give a fuck
I
at
don't
all.
give a fuck about any of that.
Oh my God.
I know, because I understand shit happens. I understand, it's all like, yeah, whatever. We're still doing the thing. You're still on your way. You're
we
still
aren't.
whatever.
It's canceled. We're not doing it anymore.
It's canceled. Yeah.
If you didn't leave when you were supposed to leave, you're going to be late. Speak up then. Why is that so hard?
Do you think... Here it is.
Give it to me.
Do you think it makes it hard for people to speak up?
What makes it hard?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Do you ever feel like maybe it's hard for people to come forward and address situations with you? You ever think about that?
I'm thinking about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, grow up. Nah, just grow up.
Really?
Yeah, we're adults.
So funny.
What do you think's going to happen? You're going to get in trouble? What am I going to do?
This.
And then what?
I don't know.
What? Okay. So I don't understand. What's the problem?
Some people, I don't want to say any names here.
Yeah.
Some people have people-pleasing problems.
Yeah. Codependent. Yeah. Go ahead.
And they can't handle when people are upset with them or mad at them. So some people out there, I don't know who it would be, but maybe some people would then think that that is a big deal to have you upset with them or angry, or so they would try to not have that conversation with you or feel uneasy about it.
Let me ask you a question about these people.
Yeah.
Do in their stupid fucking brain, does it? How do they get to the point of, oh, let me just, instead of when I'm running late, speak up, let me do it at the last minute. That'll upset him less.
That's a good question. I'll have to ask these people.
Yeah, ask those people.
They're very handsome, by the way. I've seen them. They're very handsome.
Oh, I thought we were talking about you. Wait, who were we talking about?
So I think the anxiety is triggering the control issues.
For sure. Yeah, that happens when you're ugly.
Still not over the intro, huh?
I'm so sorry. You're not ugly. You're very handsome.
Thank you.
You're very handsome.
Thank you.
Very attractive guy.
I wish I could say the same for you. Thank you.
It's okay. I'm just the chunky one. You know, I know my place on this podcast.
Oh, I'm seeing the fucking heat you've been posting.
I didn't post any heat.
Not in that way. People like commenting and going at it in the comments with each other and stuff. It's been interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me I'm handsome.
What?
Tell me I'm handsome. Do it right now.
So I think the anxiety is triggering the controlling it. Just to get us back on track. And then we got off track there.
Yeah, we did. He's 5'9", just so you know.
We're the same height. Are you saying you're 5'9"?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm saying when we stand next to each other, I look at the top of your head. That's what I'm saying. You're 5'9".
Oh, God.
Yeah. He carries around a trampoline. You know what I'm saying?
Trampoline.
You carry one in your little backpack. Little trampoline. So if you got to talk to a girl, you pop up on your trampoline.
Number one, it's a fanny pack.
That's true. He keeps it in his fanny.
You're a very handsome man.
Thank you, dude. I know you don't mean it, but thank you. It's nice to hear. I appreciate it.
Just take the compliment, you know?
All right. What else did you talk about in therapy this week? Let's get on track here.
Buddy.
Yeah, you had a doozy. I had an intake session mostly, so.
Oh, we're going to get to you.
No, we're not.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, we're going to talk about you for about an hour, and then we're going to shut her down.
This is a big one for me with sticking on cue with the anxiety.
Okay.
We were talking about when it flares up, and when I'm in the mix of those anxiety spirals, when I'm thinking of how to get out of it, and she asked me what it looks like because she was curious to see if I was kind of leaning on these ideal situations when I'm in an anxiety spiral. So saying things like, oh, I wish I had, blah, blah, blah to get out of this or whatever. And I said to her, no, when I'm in these anxiety spirals, I will settle for the lowest form to get out of it. Like the lowest amount of something that I need is good enough. And then I will figure it out once I'm out of it.
You just need like the immediate life raft.
Yep.
And then once you're on the life raft, you're like, okay, I'll figure out how to get to shore then.
Yep. Yeah.
And what'd you say about that?
It was interesting because that bleeds into a lot of things in my life where if I can just figure out something, if I can just get through the moment now, then I'll figure everything else out later. And turns out that is survival mode, and I've been living my entire life in survival mode, and I think it stems from grief when I was young, and uncertainty of grief and death and all that. But also it affects my long-term planning.
How so?
It is really hard for me to look at the big picture of things because I am constantly in the now. And it's in that same narrative of like, if I can just get through right now, then I'll figure out the rest later. So I'm never thinking of like, oh, let's make a plan for later. I'm just like, no, we have to get through right now. And a lot of times, even in the projects that I'm doing in my career, I very rarely spend the time after they're done to either launch them correctly or give them the proper attention after they're done, or enjoy them once they're done. I constantly finish a project, move on to the next thing, and I'm keeping it moving because I got through right now. I got the project done. I figured it out. Next. Now it's the next thing I have to figure out how to get through.
And then you get upset because no one watches the project and
Right.
you don't get the validation, and the only one to blame is you.
Exactly.
That's a cycle.
Yeah.
That's a pattern.
And I didn't realize that I had been living in this survival mode. I thought I was just hustling, grinding, keeping it moving.
So the survival mode, do you find it to be more so professional, or is that personal life as well?
I think it bleeds over into personal life as well I don't think relationships, but everything else. Money, housing, cars, all that shit. Like if I can just like, I need something now and I'll figure out the rest.
You know what's interesting? No matter what we talk about, always but it doesn't affect my relationships. It doesn't bleed over in relationships that way. Whether it be the controlling, the anxiety, the survival, like it seems like relationships are where.
I feel like I am someone who, and I hate this about myself. Is
Super chill, laid back dude.
I'm a super chill, laid back dude. That's number one.
Yeah.
All time. But I think that I'm somebody who gets lost in relationships a lot, and they become the priority in my life. And so when I think about them getting affected by these things, they almost feel a little protected to me.
They feel protected?
Yeah. Because
from what?
From getting fucked up from other stuff. This short-term thinking. I don't apply short-term thinking to my relationships. So that wouldn't fuck it up. Obviously, anxiety has fucked me. We talked about that last week. But yeah, I tend to prioritize when I'm in a relationship to the degree of kind of losing myself in there.
You become codependent.
Yes.
So when you're in a relationship, it automatically is like number one priority all the time.
Yes, because I think I have a little insecurity about making whoever I'm with feel safe and important, because I know that I have this career or had this career that had me gone a lot. I'm just a rambling guy and out and about in the fucking world and barely ever home. So I want them to feel safe and secure in the relationship and to know that I do care about them and they are a priority. And that oftentimes would lead to me not going out as much or staying home or not taking on certain projects or delaying projects or something like that, because I wanted to spend the time or show value in the relationship that I'm in.
Ooh, I'm going to push you.
Okay.
We talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're saying when you're in a relationship, you tend to, that's kind of like a sacred part of your life. It's a very high priority.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to feel safe. You want them to make sure they know the relationship is safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can, whatever we decided to call it, your wandering eye.
I knew you were going to go here. Yeah.
Can take over, and then that can ultimately threaten your relationship. And I wonder if the high priority you're putting on your relationships is almost creating like a resentment in you, that you feel like you have to put these relationships in a certain place for your partner, and you're then like, you feel like you're missing something. I know you're just discovering this about yourself.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
There is definitely, I mean, I think that's a normal thing when you get out of anybody gets out of any relationship, male or female or whatever, and you think about, oh, I should have done this or I could have done that. You have those coulda, woulda, shouldas.
Right.
And it is motivating to me. Usually when I come out of a long-term relationship, I'm pumping out projects. And that's also a distraction thing for me as well. That also happens with grief. Usually when I'm going through something, my adrenaline and motivation kicks in and I go to work. So I don't know if it's resentment or if it's just there is a feeling of fuck, I should have been doing this. There is that for sure.
Do you ever, looking back, using your hindsight, what? I mean that seriously.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
All
Yeah.
right, I heard a little snicker.
No, not at all.
No fat jokes about Snickers, please. Now, using your hindsight, when you look back, do you think of times in the relationship where presently in those moments you're like, I should be doing something else, but you feel like you can't because you would be casting your partner aside temporarily or anything like that?
Absolutely. But my partners are never asking that of me. I'm putting that on them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go on record and say that it was never my partner's fault in any relationship that I was in, that I felt held back by them at all. It was always my assumption of how I should be handling my relationship.
Where do you think it comes from? Why do you think you went into relationships thinking that's how you should act?
I think it just goes back to that. It's such a hard sell for me, I feel like. When I am single and dating and out there, the fucking thing that I deal with the most is when I'm out with women. They go, "Oh, you must do this all the time. You must have women all over." Hey, I'm here with you, and that's what's going on right now. I'm here with you, and we're doing this. Don't fucking, oh, you must have 100 women. You must do. So, to me, I have to apply a little bit of that pressure and value to show them that, like, hey, it's just you. This is what's going on. There's nobody fucking hiding in my closets. There's nothing going on here. You know what I mean? Like, it's you. We're here. You're safe. Because that is, so in a career that was so uncertain, I felt like I had to step up and show some kind of security or certainty in order to have them feel safe and move forward with an actual real connection and real relationship with me. Because it's a hard sell. I was gone 40 to 46 weeks a year on the road. Mm-hmm. You trying to fucking move in? You know what I mean? Like, you trying to take me seriously? Probably not. I don't blame them. I wouldn't take me seriously.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense. I hate to keep going back, but like, it's kind of this big contradiction. Like you like they're calling you out on, you must have, you're on the road, you must have a woman in every city. And you're like, look, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And then you're out on the road and you're like, man, that'd be fun. I wish I had the freedom.
Yeah.
And then they're getting upset because you have contact with other women. You're like, but I'm with you, even though you kind of wish you had the freedom to have these experiences or whatever. That must be made it really hard for you.
Yeah, but it didn't.
That sounds like
in the beginning, and this sounds so bad, but we talked about this last week too, and I think this is a normal thing that goes on in relationships as well. As you get comfortable and you start to kind of put your guard down a little bit, and I think that's when more of that flirting happens, or where those ideas happen, where you're meeting people and you're like, that'd be fun. So I don't think it's never an immediate thing for me, because I am so enamored at first. I am all in. I'm always all in, but like, at first you have those kind of blinders on. I think that's normal for everybody. When you meet somebody you really connect with and you really like fall for, there's nobody else that exists in the world, right? You're just like...
So you love the honeymoon phase.
Oh, yeah.
It is so much fun, isn't it?
It's great.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a normal thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Who doesn't love the honeymoon phase?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
But I am a serial monogamist and a long-term partner guy.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And so, yeah, I think that stuff comes later. So,
that just sounds like it'd be really hard.
yeah. And also, I kind of mentioned this last week too, but like, it doesn't affect the way that I view my, like,
Yeah.
if I think somebody would be fun, or if we have a connection, or whatever, if there's a little bit of flirting going on in the DMs or whatever, it has no effect on how I feel about who I'm with.
Yeah. Of course.
I love them the same. I look at them the same. I want them the same. It's,
Yeah.
it's not an either or thing for me.
Right.
Yeah. And then a relationship that I was in, we opened the relationship up towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And
Your most recent relationship.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, I came back from a trip and I had hooked up with somebody on while I was gone.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and we were very open about our feelings. And I was just like, it actually made me love you more. It made me appreciate you more.
And not because the hookup was bad or anything.
No, it had nothing to do with the other person, but it was just like, you are, I was so happy with this other person, so that, not that I didn't have fun with this new person or whatever, but it just wasn't her. And I think that's important. And I think I've never been in poly relationships or those type of situations, but I feel like I have more insight on it now, where I think people that have not experienced that can be like, how could you do that to this? It has nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Because anybody else that you meet out there in the world is not going to be her. Everybody brings something different to the table. Everybody connects in different ways. Everybody has, everybody fits together differently.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to fit together like the person you're with, especially long term. So it doesn't matter.
Kind of like made you appreciate your home base.
Yeah, because it wasn't a replacement.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people get confused about with polyamory and open relationships a lot, is like, oh, you're replacing. No, it's not about replacing. It's about adding on to the joy and the connection and the love that you already have a solid foundation on. So like,
I'm one of those people. I really struggle to wrap my mind around. I can understand open relationships. Like you have your partner and you're allowed to like casually see other people.
yeah.
But like having a main partner and having like a side like girlfriend, I cannot understand that. Not judging. How does like emotionally?
I don't know about an ongoing thing. I think that might be different. I have not experienced that, to have like an ongoing side thing happening. But I think it's definitely different interactions and feelings and connections when it's just a one-off here and there, or,
So more of an open relationship rather than like polyamory.
Yeah.
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 And you having that experience, you've kind of learned that's kind of your preference now, is you'd rather have like a main person, but have an open thing where you guys can dip out every now and again.
An ongoing hall pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
For lack
That's
of
a good way to put it. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. You just have a golden hall pass. So you're like, I can just cash this in.
Yeah. Even that, like, I get it. I can wrap my head around it. I have a hard time thinking that would work for me. I don't know if it's an insecurity thing. I wonder why. Maybe it's just not for me, but I wonder what like the root of it is. If I'm too insecure to be like, oh, some dude's fucking piping my girl down. Super cool. Super tight on that one.
Yeah. I also, when it comes to jealousy in relationships, I don't really have that. And I've always been in the mindset of like, as long as I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, what do I have to worry about? Yeah. And I feel like that's the same way if it was an open relationship. As long as I am still doing the things that I was supposed to be doing and all that, then I don't have to worry about somebody else coming in. And
that's interesting, because last week we talked about you tend to feel like your partners lose interest. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that way even if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? Do you think they still lose interest, or do you think that you feel like they lose interest only when you slip or when you have going through something?
With this new hindsight that we have, the hindsight is where I'm discovering that maybe I wasn't coming to the table with everything that I was initially coming to the table with. Mm-hmm. So during those moments, that's why I also think the check-ins are very important in relationships.
Yeah.
Huge.
Some might say like a monthly couples therapy could be a great check-in. Some people out there. Some people might think it's a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Some people might be smart enough to see through it, But I think I think check-ins are important, and that way you stay on task and can continue to be the person that you say you are.
Yeah.
Bring to the table what you're supposed to be bringing to the table.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree. Check-ins are really important in relationships. So using your hindsight, do you think that for future relationships that would be a good thing to implement? Like having a scheduled like first of the month, like let's sit down, talk about, make sure everything's going right.
Yeah, I wish I would have been more rigid on those, because I call them state of the relationships.
Nice.
They would usually happen yearly.
That's what I was kind of getting at. Do you think it's better to like have a standing one rather than like, do we need to check in? And then it's almost like it's too late.
Yeah,
because you have all these things building up and it's like this explosion of things.
Because I'm also the guy, I found out through hindsight and past relationships, that I'm also the guy that's like, you good? You okay?
Yeah. I do that too.
Yeah. And turns out women don't like that. Drives them fucking crazy. Yeah. And sometimes you being like, you good? Makes them not good.
Yeah.
So
they think you're projecting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm good. Are you not good? And you're like, hey, bitch, I'm just fucking.
Yeah, I'm just fucking checking it. This is about me.
You don't seem good.
Yeah. Women have that superpower to flip it back on you on those things where you're like,
you look so pretty. I just wanted to make sure you were good.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you didn't hate me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about that, and this long-term planning was a big one for us to talk about as well. And I had shared something with her that I had not shared before. I told her, well, it's about to get dark. She goes, let's go, which I loved.
Yeah.
Another thing for me on long-term planning is, hey man, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And
you're talking about your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what happens after 60. I've never been able to see myself after 60. And I'm really good at envisioning stuff and manifestation and all of those things. I can't see past 60. And even 60 is a stretch for me. 60 is a new thing that has come to me.
Yeah, I've never heard you talk about 60 before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can vouch for that.
I don't want to get old. I've never wanted to get old. I've never wanted to be fucking like 90 and be like, where's my... Fuck that.
Well, eat better and work out and you won't be that 90-year-old, but go ahead.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I had shared with her, I said, I don't long-term plan because I don't plan to be here long-term. I don't know what that looks like for me. I come from a family that dies pretty young, so in my head, it was either going to be some kind of heart failure or accident or suicide.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so long-term planning for me is a new thing and a big thing, and I still not real sure what life after 60 looks like for me.
Are you, as you talk through these things and as you work on yourself, do you have a desire to see life after 60, like to be able to envision yourself getting old even and not see it as a negative thing?
I think if things change for me, yeah, but I don't want to keep doing this. You know what I mean? I mean, but that's also goes with survival mode and everything, that I've just lived in survival mode. So maybe if I get out of that mentality and I can learn how to live out of that, and but also like, I lost my parents around 30 years old. And the thought that I had was, what do you do without your parents for the rest of your life? That's a long time. And as time goes on, you know, I don't have anybody. You know, I don't have any. I have family, but they're pretty distant. You know what I mean? Everybody else is dead.
Yeah.
I don't have any kids. I don't have any, you know, there's nothing for me as I get older. So like, what am I hanging around for, you know?
So why don't you create something to hang around for? I'm not saying you have to have kids, but
I don't know. I'm trying to create work that lives on.
yeah, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, though, I'm not trying to shit on what you're saying. Anytime I hear somebody talk about legacy and all that, I'm like, that's not real.
Yeah.
It's not. When's the last time you thought about Prince or Michael Jackson? They're some of the biggest artists of all time.
That's true.
That don't cross my mind.
That's true.
The diehard fans, they'll still listen to your shit, but in the big scheme of things, and I believe this even when we're still here, we don't fucking matter. We're so insignificant.
Yeah.
Not just speaking on this planet. There's what, 7 billion of us?
Yeah.
And then you go to the scope of the universe, like, bro, we don't fucking matter.
I got to tell you, this isn't helping.
I'm sorry. Hey, I can't change how you feel.
I had a revelation coming out of the pandemic, because I have a storage unit back in Ohio that you and I have talked about a bunch of times.
Possible documentary coming soon.
Yeah. But I had a revelation of like, who is that for?
Yeah.
Who's all that stuff that I'm keeping in that little fucking, in those boxes? Like, who's that for? And the answer is no one. It's for me right now.
Yeah.
That's how I'm keeping their memories alive and all that stuff, and that's where they live. That's for me. But when I'm gone,
it's just stuff.
It's just stuff, man. There's nobody to pass it down to. There's nobody gives a fuck about it. Nobody's gonna dig through it when I'm gone and be like, oh, this was fucking Grandpa Mike's stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not. This is some dead guy's stuff. $50 for the whole lot. You want it?
Yeah.
So that's when I'm thinking long term and long term planning and all that stuff. It's like, who's it for?
Yeah.
Me? I don't want to be here right now.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day because I've always had a really hard time picturing myself later in life. I've always thought I'd die in a car accident for some reason.
Well, you almost did. So
yeah, missed me once.
I think that might be a
But I've always thought that's how I go, and yeah, I've always kind of thought I'd die younger. I don't. Yeah, I can't picture myself at even 60. It's a weird, but I don't know if that's a normal thing. If when you're in your like younger years, like, can anybody picture themselves old?
Yeah, it's hard to even picture yourself at like 30 when you're young. You're like, 30?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And now I'm 35 and I'm like, I feel the same as I felt when I was fucking 20.
My grandmother used to talk about that all the time when it came to age, about like how, you know, I was like, yeah, you're 91. Like, how do you feel? She's like, I feel like I'm 25.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But what I was thinking about was, let's say I don't die in a car accident,
Right.
and I do grow old, like I'm supposed to if nothing happens, right? I don't get sick or anything. What does life look like then? And that led me to kids. And I was like, and for the first time in my life, I thought about, like, oh, that's why you have kids.
Yeah.
You get old and then you have this joy of seeing like your family, and you get to watch, because like, dude, watching me getting stuck in Tucson during the pandemic was, I hate using this word, but it was such a blessing.
Yeah.
Watching my niece grow from like a worm to like this little person over 2 years, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. And I can't even imagine what that's like as a 75, 80-year-old man seeing your adult children.
Yeah.
Like watching them, you have these memories of them being this little fucking bean, and then they grow and they grow and they grow, and now they're adults and maybe they're having kids. And like I think of, like, maybe that is what life's about when you get to that age, is just looking at your family and just feeling that love that you have for these people.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see them as much as you want, and you feel like they've forgotten about you because they have their own lives.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that yeah, I think about if I do get to that age, I think, yeah, what else do you have besides the people you love? Who gives a fuck how much money you have if you don't have people to share it with? And I don't think it has to be family. I don't think it has to be kids. It's just like, you have to, the relationships that matter and the people that you love. I think it's so important to maintain them.
Yeah.
You know, dude, we're gonna be the dopest 75-year-old men ever. Don't kill yourself.
I won't be here, but
Yeah, come on, dude.
I'll make sure you're taken care of.
Oh, thanks, dude. You get all your books. Thanks. You don't think that would be a fucking blast? Just us being 75, just chilling, smoking a cigar somewhere.
Oh man,
The fucking laughs we would have. Oh, come on, dude.
my worst case scenario is already kicking in. Like, my body would hurt so much.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got this. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but that was the first time in my life I was like, oh, that's why you have kids, just for that. Like, maybe that is what life is about. And I don't fucking know if it is, but I had that thought for the first time.
Yeah.
I've thought about kids before, but it was because of the person I was with. And I was just envisioning having a kid with that person.
Yeah.
And thank God we didn't. But yeah, this is the first time I was like, oh.
I had that with my ex and her daughter. That was the first realization, because she was seeing her go through school, and you just relive all of these moments, and it's such a mind fuck in the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a circle of life. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta have kids, man.
Fuck that.
Put the vasectomies on hold.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm depressed now.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Oh, welcome to my world, baby.
Yeah. Well,
So let's switch gears.
I don't want to.
I know you don't. You've been fighting it. Let's switch gears.
I don't want to.
So you this was your first week with your new therapist.
Yeah.
And she's gotten you doing some different things, and I love it.
I hate it.
Let's talk about it.
I don't want to.
Let's do it.
No.
Come on.
Okay, what do you want to talk about, you fuck?
I like that she's challenging you in these new ways.
Yeah, I need to be challenged. I need to be pushed in therapy.
Yeah. Are you like that in life, too? Do you like people that push back, like in relationships and friendships and stuff?
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially in romantic relationships, because I can be a little hard-headed.
Wait,
Shut it down, bitch.
Wait a minute.
I'm revealing something to the people they didn't know.
Let me just take this in for a second. You're saying that you can be a little hard-headed or hard to deal with? Is that what you're
I
saying?
didn't say hard to deal with. I said hard-headed.
Oh, somebody said hard to deal with.
Yeah, don't put fucking words in my mouth.
I just heard that.
Oh, cool, dude. He gaslights. Look at him, ladies. Yeah, I can be hard-headed, and I can be... Some people might say hard to deal with. I don't know who would say that. You'd have to be a real fucking bastard to say something like that about me. Because I'm just a big old fresh baked slice of cutie pie, sweetie pie, honey pie, lovely pie. Okay? Now.
That's been left out in the fucking heat.
It's wilting. It's wilting. It's getting some of the fuzzy spots on
It's
it.
hot and angry.
Hot and angry. So yeah, I do need a partner that can be like, hey, you're wrong right now. I understand you feel strongly. Can we just calm down and think about it? Like, I need that, because if I really feel strongly that I'm right, no matter, shut the fuck up. No matter how wrong I might be, I need someone to be like, hey, the look on your face, dude.
Keep going.
But I realize that takes a lot of work from me to foster an environment so that my partner knows that she can do those things to me, and I'm not going to take it out on her.
Right.
So...
Also friends.
Dude, we're not friends. I love you so much. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I do need a partner that for lack of a better phrase, because I don't have better words, that can stand up to me.
Right.
Because I can be a very strong, hard-headed, like, I'm a stubborn fuck sometimes. But yeah, I understand that it's on me to make sure that they know that that what we have will always be a safe space for those types of interactions. What did you ask me that we got here?
I was talking about how your new therapist is challenging you in ways, and that I liked it. And she was, it's very different from your last therapist.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, I'm getting another new therapist.
No, you're not. Come on, my guy.
Nah, I told her we're going to try it out. But yeah, she, well, a lot of it was intake.
Yeah.
Right? I had to warn her. I was like, hey, I will joke about killing myself a lot, just so you know. And she's like, okay, as long as there's never a plan, that's fine. And I said, nice. So we did all that. We did some recaps. You know, what are you wanting to focus on, that kind of stuff. And then we did a little exercise. Dude, here's how deflective I was in this first fucking session. She goes, all right, so we're going to do a little exercise. And I said, if it's cardio, I'm fucking leaving.
Oh my God. Get the fuck out of here.
I swear to God. And she's like, it's not cardio. And she like had a big laugh. And I was like, and in my head, I was like, bro, why are you joking right now? Like, just fucking, just do that. Take it seriously. Oh man. I felt myself sitting there like I had a fucking wall up with this woman.
Yeah.
I could feel it. I was just sitting there like, yep. Mm-hmm. Like not emoting at all. And I became aware of it later on. And I was like, bro, you're not, this is not.
It's not what it's for.
That's not the way to do therapy.
Right.
Like you have to come in here and put the wall that like, otherwise you're going to get nothing from this.
Yeah.
And so she said, let's do an exercise. And I said, fine. And she said, I'm going to invite you to look inward. And I said, did you say the N-word?
Stop it.
I
Stop.
did.
What are you doing? What are you doing with her?
Deflecting.
Let her do her job.
I'm deflecting. And then I really did. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to commit to this. Okay, let's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And she said, I want you to look inward. And she closed her eyes. And I asked, not jokingly, do I have to close my eyes? She said, it would help. And I said, okay. So I closed my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And here's, you want to know, all I could think about for the first little bit of this exercise was, are her eyes still closed or is she watching me do this shit?
Are you
I
serious?
swear to God.
Did you peek a little?
Nope. Because I was committed, baby.
All right, good.
But yeah, I was like, her eyes still closed? She fucking watching me. And then it was like, it's like we talk about with like positive self-talk of like looking in the mirror and being like, I love you. Mm-hmm. It felt so fucking silly and foolish. I'm sitting here with my eyes closed. I'm like, is she watching me? Who gives a fuck if she's watching?
Doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
I cared.
Yeah.
So she was talking about behaviors that are that people use as soothers, air quotes, soothers. She's like common ones, like some people drink, some people whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's like coping behaviors, but rather than call them coping, she's saying you use them because you're trying to soothe yourself, which is what coping behaviors are. And I didn't really have any coping or soothing behaviors, but the one that came to mind, because again, it's our first session, we hadn't opened up a lot.
Right.
And I said, oh, I think the obvious one for me would be eating. And then, of course, I go, obviously.
You have the jokes.
I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, not obviously. And I said, thanks. And she goes, so do you eat to soothe? And I was like, I don't know that I eat to soothe or like to cope, but I do have a problem eating out of boredom. Like, I don't know why I do. I'm sure there's some fucking trauma back in the early chapters, but I don't know why. But I when I am cognizant of it, like I am getting better at being like, dude, are you hungry right now or are you just bored? And so we talked about that. And we're looking inward.
Yeah.
And she said, dude, I hate this right now. And shut the fuck up.
Safe space.
No, it's not a safe space. I got people watching, people in the comments calling me the chunky one. I got fucking all this shit. Vulnerability is hard, man.
Yeah.
I don't fucking like it all the time. Sometimes it's really hard. And so I got my eyes closed. I'm looking inward. And she said, I'm like panicking right now. I'm trying to remember.
She was talking about you picturing where the anxiety was.
She was talking about, having anxiety right now just talking about this. She was like, okay, so yeah. So I have my eyes closed. You see how jumbled I get when I have
what's
anxiety?
going? Do you want me to tell the story?
No, I don't want you to tell the story, bro. I can do it. Like, yeah, bro. Sometimes I get fucking panic attack and I can't fucking talk right.
Is it really bothering you right now?
Yeah, I don't like it, but I'm gonna do it. It's okay.
Okay.
So, I have my eyes closed and we're looking inward. If you're just joining us, and and she asked, like, okay, so if you're thinking about, like, you're bored and you're going to eat, like, what do you feel right now thinking that? And I thought about it for a minute and I said, honestly, a little bit of anxiety. And she said, okay, where do you feel the anxiety, like physically in your body? And so I like sat for a second and I said, in my chest and in my hands, because my hands were starting to buzz. She said, okay, so what I want you to do now, and in my mind, I'm like, her eyes better be closed. And what I want you to do now is I want you to ask the feeling in your hands and your chest, ask them permission to separate from you for a few seconds. She's like, you don't have to do it out loud. So I do that. And she said, now I want you to imagine you putting that energy, that anxious energy, whatever it is, putting it into a room where there's like a two-way mirror. You're going to put it in the room and then you're going to stand on the other side of the mirror and you can watch it. Gave it a couple seconds. I said, okay. So I visualized me doing these things and putting it in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm like sweating. Fuck off. We're gonna cut all this, right?
Nope.
I'm not promoting this at all. This episode, don't watch this. And she said, okay, so it's in the room and you're watching it. And I said, yeah. And she said, what does it look like?
Yeah.
And I said, it looks like an orange glow. It was just like this orange, like, orb kind of, like, not, there was no rigid structure. It wasn't a glass ball. It was just like this orange glow.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, so now I want you to go into the room with the orange glow. She said, I want you to go into the room and I want you to ask this orange glow, what are you afraid is going to happen if I don't eat out of boredom right now? So I take a second and I do that. And then she asks, I don't remember if I leave the room or if I stay in there with it. But she asks, does it look different? Does it look different?
Mm.
And I took a second and I realized that now when I was seeing it, it was purple. And I said, now it's purple.
Interesting.
She said, yeah. She said, okay. And then honest to God, I'm not fucking with you, I forgot what the rest of the thing was after that. And then she said, okay, open your eyes and come back. I said, okay. So I'm sitting there. In my head, I'm like, were your eyes open this whole time? And she goes, okay. And I was like, okay, what? She's like, it's just the first time we're doing this. I just wanted to see what happened and see, what. She's like, some people go in the room and they see a dog and some people see this. And she's like, you saw an orange energy and it changed to purple. She's like, we're just exploring. And I said, okay, so we're not like connecting anything right now. She's like, no, we're like, no, this is our first thing. Like, we're just, it's all fun. It's okay. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm going to ask you one question. I said, okay. She goes, it's random. There's nothing here. It's a random question. And I said, okay. She goes, I'm not trying to connect anything yet. And I said, okay. What's your question?
It's quite the build-up, yeah.
Because I think she can see how anxious I am. And she's like, it's okay. It doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, what's your fucking question?
Yeah.
And she goes, so you had this energy and it changed colors. And I go, yeah. And she goes, my question is, what's your mom's favorite color? And I said, purple.